Yeah, you gotta record and welcome to our balanced boot camp call. What's the title, Elena? Slaying your nutrition?
Slaying your nutrition and getting results, something of the sort.
With Maria and Jesse.
Alexa, do you want to go ahead and just mute all in case?
Oh, absolutely. And then Maria, why don't you kick us off and then tell me when you want me to play Jesse's video, okay?
Okay, sounds good.
I'm gonna mute you though and unmute you.
Okay.
Mute all. There we go. It's not working.
All right, I'm gonna go ahead and share my screen. Because who doesn't love a good PowerPoint? Promise it's not like school. There will be no tests for any teachers out there. But as Alexa said, this is slaying your nutrition, and I think the last part was in getting enhanced results. So Jessie will be popping in with her video, and if she can pop in live, it'll be fun to hear from her and her side of the story as well. So Jessie and I, just like a lot of us here, have not actually met in person, but we are two coaches who have just put the work in into our health journeys, and nutrition has been a huge part of it for us. So I think now would be a good time if we played Jesse's video. That's okay.
I'm gonna take over screen share for a second.
That's fine. Yep.
Can you guys see it?
I'm recording this. Hey y'all, my name is Jessica. I'm recording this early just in case my internet goes out. So if you're watching this, my internet quit, living in the middle of nowhere, it has good and bad sides. And I'm all sweaty right now because I just helped my mom carry mail because she broke down. So that's that. So some fun facts about me. I have two chocolate labs, Harley and Goober, and they fit their names. Harley's wild as she could be, and Goober is a goober. I started working out with Beachbody programs. I've been trying to work out for a long time. I used to be a cheerleader in high school and quit that, and then I competed in pageants and kind of fell out of the whole fitness game. And I've been trying to get into it for a while. Again, it's not easy to start the routine, that's for sure. So I started with the Beachbody programs in February of 2019. I think that's right. And I did 2 rounds of T20, Transform 20, which was a blast. And then I did one full-on round of Morning Meltdown 100, and that was awesome. So then after that, I was getting results with all those programs, and that was fantastic and all, but it wasn't quite the results that I wanted. I was getting stronger. I felt healthier, but I wasn't seeing it physically as much as I wanted to see it. And then I started researching some of the programs that Beachbody has for nutrition. And I found that because I was trying to do one of them, it just wasn't really working for me. So then I started researching them and the differences between the two, and found out about 2B Mindset and how it was more of a freestyle kind of, you had more freedom with 2B Mindset in my book, and it made it easier for me with my random schedule that all of a sudden changes. So I started following the 2B Mindset, and at the same time, that's when Barre Blend came out. So I decided I was going to go hardcore 2B Mindset and Barre Blend for 8 weeks. And y'all, that was the best decision I've ever made. You can see in the pictures on the slide that that's my results from when I went hardcore nutrition and working out. I wasn't perfect, trust me. I had pizza, I had wine and margaritas and tacos during that time, but I did my absolute best. And I had I had those treats, not cheats, they're treats. I had those treats occasionally, and that kind of kept me going because I love pizza and I'm not going to give it up. And that's what's so great is in 2B Mindset, you can have pizza, you can have pasta, you can have all the things, and it is great. So yeah, when I went hardcore on 2B Mindset, then it was just like a game changer for me, and I've never looked back. It's the greatest thing. So basically, what I'm trying to say is, go nutrition. If you want the results, if you want to really see them and not just feel them, you really want to see them physically, pick a nutrition program and go all in, and go all in for at least one full program. Don't do it for a couple weeks and not see results, because it takes your body time. Just go all in. It's totally worth it. I hope y'all guys enjoy this call. I wish I could be there. I'm so sad that my internet went out, if it did, because I'm sure it will. I'm really hopeful it didn't. Anyway.
All right. The rest is just the end. Maria, back to you.
Awesome. So this, I'll go through this real quick, I guess. Obviously, you kind of heard from her a little bit. So obviously, we want to share our stories and how nutrition has really enhanced our results, and just give you an opportunity to overview the programs that Beachbody does have available. And then lastly, a chance to ask questions. So this is what Jessie was referring to.
Share
Share your screen.
Oh, I'm sorry.
It's okay. When I took it over, it doesn't automatically go back to you.
Completely forgot. I'm like, no wonder why I can't see your faces. Okay, I'll go back. There we go. All right, so this is the this is the slide that she was referring to. It was her results from going all in for the full 8 weeks. How do I, play from current slide. There we go, technology. All right, so as you can see, I truly believe, and in my experience as well, same as Jessie's, is that when I've gone all in on nutrition and workout programs, that's when the real results happen. So I'll go ahead and do a little bit of my story as well. So my name is Maria, and I have been doing the Beachbody program since kind of like early to like late summer of 2018. I had kind of done the on and off, kind of mostly on the fitness programs, and kind of really pushing back on nutrition, because with the fact that nutrition is hard. It's not something that we necessarily like want to give control to. So I just want to make sure you guys can still see my screen, right? Oh no.
Yes.
Okay, I'm like, you got your faces disappeared, so I want to be sure. Okay. So anyway, that's kind of part of where I had really had some pushback with my my journey on the nutrition side of things. And it wasn't until, kind of similar story to Jessie, I started going all in on Transform 20. It was a program that just fit with my mental aspect of my journey, and I decided to also go all in. I have done a little bit of both. I have done 2B Mindset and Ultimate Portion Fix, just based off of when they, so I have some experience with both of them. And to date, I am down just a little over 80 pounds, which is absolutely phenomenal. And I agree with Jessie. It's more about the feeling and how you feel. So little bit about why I think nutrition is important. So if you don't know me, I'm a full-time nurse. And so I really truly believe in your health and taking care of your body. So just from my background, I know that nutrition and keeping hydrated and things like that, they fuel every part of your body. Everything that your body does is based off of nutrition. If you're going to put crap in, you're going to get crap out. So when you're feeling sluggish and you're feeling down, that's exactly, you got to look at what the input is. Otherwise, what is 2B Mindset? So I'm just going to do a brief overview. You guys if you have more questions, or the Beachbody website has a lot to offer as well. But what Jessie was referring to is 2B mindset. So I think of it as like a mindful approach to eating. I think it's an enhanced version of, if you grew up in the United States, we used to have like My Plate, and it was kind of like the divided portions of your plate, and proteins and veggies and fruits and things like that. So it's structured on using your plate as a guide to getting in the different food groups. So like she had said, it's almost like a freestyle. Yes, you're tracking like what you're eating and what times of days and just like how it makes you feel. But there's not necessarily like a measuring component to it. And one of the things I love about 2B Mindset, like she had talked about, is it's all about treats, not cheats. So, yeah, so 2B Mindset, kind of a more freestyle flow of it. And what I think about, I still remember a lot of Alana's like little things that she has said. Like I said, treat not cheat. A healthy outside starts from the inside. Struggle with emotional eating. She goes through a lot of the topics that are really hard to talk about. And she's got these fun little phrases that kind of help you get through it, especially if you're on a weight loss journey. It can be very overwhelming to look at losing 80 pounds like I have. But she talks about taking it like 2 pounds at a time. So I love that piece of it, that it's like you're just making little goals along the way. Next, I'll kind of dive into Ultimate Portion Fix just a little bit here. And so that's what she was kind of talking about, the other program she had referred to, and it's a portion-driven program. It involves, I'm sure a lot of you have seen the 21-day fix containers. It's really a ramped up version of that ultimate portion fix. The great thing about that is, someone like me, is I love to learn why. I want to know what's going on and why we're doing what we're doing. So what I love too is that it really, where you fall and how many containers on this program really depends on where you're at in your journey. If you're losing weight, if you're wanting to gain weight, if you want to stay the same, and it does incorporate your level of activity as well. Someone who's working out is going to have different calorie or container requirements as someone that's not working out. So it does take into account that as well. And both of these programs, I'd love to tell you that I'm sitting here and my success is because of a quick fix. And these programs really highlight that it's a lifestyle change. I know Jessie had talked a little bit about she's not giving up pizza, she's not giving up pasta or wine. And I truly think that Ultimate Portion Fix has some of those categories built into it too. You're just picking and choosing when you want to have those treats as well. And you can get really creative with how you make pizza and putting veggies and fruits and making that a cauliflower rice and or cauliflower crust and things like that. So there is still a lot of flexibility within the programs. And so that's what I've liked about both of the programs as well, is that it's really focused on your life as well. Ultimate Portion Fix too, same with 2B Mindset. They come with a ton of videos that you can watch kind of at your own leisure, and you can go back and rewatch them anytime. And same thing, you can access those on the nutrition program if you have bought it as well. So this is kind of highlighting a little bit about what the materials look like for Ultimate Portion Fix. So the nice thing too is they have tons of recipes, both of them, that are geared towards their own programs as well. And the Beachbody nutrition blog also has a ton of recipes. And if you're following one of the nutrition programs through Beachbody, if it's on the blog, they usually have the conversions of like how many containers or what it would be good as, whether it's a breakfast, a lunch, or a dinner for 2B Mindset. So I always like to think, right now, this is just kind of a broad overview of two, I won't say completely different programs, because I think they have two So I'd like to know, what can you take out of coming here to this call and seeing what nutrition can do for you? So first, whatever you're doing, pick a nutrition plan, whether that's Ultimate Portion Fix, whether that's To Be Mindset, whether you're just going to follow the containers part of Ultimate Portion Fix. It's that simple. Just pick it and stick with it. One of the things that has really changed my nutrition game is when I start tracking your food, tracking your water, tracking how you feel. I know people get sick of it, but tracking. Again, it can be as simple as tracking in a notebook. I reference the To Be Mindset or the Ultimate Portion Fix tracker. They are awesome resources for you as well. Also, if you're a technology savvy person, you can app well. It's mostly geared towards the containers, and so you can track the different containers you've had for different meals. I always think that we're not going to take you going from 0 to 360. So start small, make little changes. If you're someone who drinks, a can of pop every single day, you can think about it as maybe shrinking that down to like 3 a week. And then once you master that, you can shrink it down to maybe 1 a week. And then after that, occasionally here and there. So it's the same thing with all of your goals. Start small, be consistent, it'll pay off. I know we're in the middle of a pandemic, and I just went to the grocery store today and I couldn't find chicken breasts, unfortunately. So give yourself some grace. When you do plan, that's planning is another important piece of nutrition. Give yourself some grace. Be flexible. We're all living in these unknown times. So those are just some tips that I kind of felt like you could do today, whether or not you have access to Be Mindset or Ultimate Portion Fix. I think you all should choose one and follow it, but that's me. But it's just simple tools. So I'm going to go ahead and stop my screen, and I'm just going to open it up. So I'm not an expert, but I'm more than happy to help field questions you guys have at this time. If they're too detailed, just talk to your coach one-on-one. We're more than happy to help you. So go ahead and unmute yourself if you have any questions.
So I wanted to share something that I think would be helpful if I can find it, or if someone else has it handy, where it shows like the difference between like pick this path if To Be Mindset might be better for you. Ooh, I think I have it here. This one is like slightly different than the one that I was thinking, but let me just share quick because I think that this would be helpful to see. Oh, it's loading. But if anyone has a question in the meantime of while this is loading, and we're doing really great with technology today, please be my guest.
Maria, have you done both? And
Yeah.
which one did you like more? Or do you like them in seasons?
I kind of like them in seasons. I'm currently doing Ultimate Portion Fix. The way that Jessie says that she feels like there's more flexibility in it, which I do believe there is a lot of flexibility. I also am someone that if I want carbs at dinner, because in To Be Mindset, carbs are not really like a part of your dinner recipe. And that's kind of, it's a very weird thing. I actually know that my body feels better when I have carbs earlier in the day, but being that I kind of want to reserve the option to have like pizza or pasta or like something like that towards the end of the day, almost like Ultimate Portion Fix better because I know how many containers I get throughout the day. And so if I do want to splurge on a dinner or have a glass of wine or things like that, then I just save my containers for that. So currently that's kind of like the season I'm in, but when I'm traveling or when it's not as easy to like measure out my containers, if I'm like at my mom's and things like that, I do prefer kind of the To Be Mindset. So again, it's better for results if you commit to a program for, a set amount of time, but there is some flexibility in both of them too.
Love that. Yeah, so I just wanted to pull this up and your coach can go over it with you. But really, like Maria was saying, Ultimate Portion Fix is better for people who like the structure, because 2B Mindset is more flexible. But I mean, kind of like Maria was saying, or like my personal experience, I sometimes get a little bit too lenient with 2B Mindset, but also sometimes like in a season of life, that's better. So Ultimate Portion Fix can be like adjusted easily based on like if you're losing weight, gaining weight, if you're breastfeeding, you're going through like different life seasons, there's like options for that. They both have tracking as a part of them. Ultimate Portion Fix, again, you have like set containers, so there's not necessarily as much flexibility, but you can plan that out. And it's calorie based on balanced macronutrients. So if you've ever heard of people like talking about macros and stuff, like trust me, those are B to try and sit there and like calculate and measure. So these have like a caloric range. So you don't have to sit there and like say, oh, well, like how many calories is it in this freaking carrot stick? Or like that sort of thing. But they do teach you how to like read labels and be mindful of that. Whereas like 2B Mindset, like we said, is more flexibility. It's good for people who like maybe you don't have consistent, maybe you're not the person cooking your food all the time. Maybe you like live with your parents or a spouse or someone, or you're traveling a lot. This is a good one to not get as like nitty and gritty with like sauces and stuff and like have more freedom in that way. 2B Mindset is based off of plate visualization. So there's specific like ratios on your plate. Like you'll have half veggies and some carbs and some protein. Like, so they'll teach you that. And then it's very like mindful in my opinion. Like I really liked learning from Alana. She had lost 100 pounds herself. So it's very cool to like learn kind of the mindset. It's really good. It actually doesn't say it on here. If you struggle with emotional eating and ties between that, they both have a component to emotional eating, like within them, but like Alana herself struggled with emotional eating, binge eating, that sort of thing, from her childhood. So learning from someone who's overcome that was very like empowering and like informative in my opinion. So I'll go ahead and stop the share. Like I said, if you have questions on that specifically, you guys can ask your coach and they can help you choose what's the best one for you. I kind of stole the little Q&A time. So if anyone has any questions, sure Maria would love to hear from them.
I think just highlighting off of what you said, Elena, too, with like the macros and the micros and the calories. And I think that's where a lot of people with nutrition get really bogged down and overwhelmed, is when you're trying to concentrate so much on the calories and making sure you're within your range and things like that. And I think both of these nutrition programs, whether it's 2B Mindset, it takes a lot of that guesswork out of it, as long as you're kind of within the guidelines. So
I think it's also cool when you do, like, obviously I've been a coach for over 4 years now. I've been doing programs for over 4 years. I've been doing the old Portion Fix, like the super simple one, and then I started Ultimate Portion Fix like day it came out. It becomes very cool how even when you're traveling, like, yes, when you first start, you use your containers, and yes, you should always have a couple weeks a month where you go back to your containers, or couple meals. Like, your containers should stay your friends, but you just kind of get good at it. And it seems silly, but I think that's why I like Ultimate Portion Fix so much, because I'm a nerd. I like learning and understanding it. But you have this confidence when you are going out and about. Like, I can go out and have an entire weekend, and like in my head, I can tally what I've eaten, and like I know I'm gonna have to eat at a bar tonight. I know what options they have, so I can make my morning work for it. And like it's so, like, at first, yes, it's harder, but like you do just kind of start getting it down. And we have like apps on our phone that you can track with, and it's very just like cool what happens when you go all in for a season and you see the results, and then you are able to get a little bit more flexible long term. But the reason they keep telling you to go all in is because if you want to have the motivation to continue paying attention to your food, it's going to require you to see results in yourself. And the most badass way to do that is to follow it, like a program to a T for a whole fitness program, because it will happen. If you guys follow a fitness program with one of these meal plans and you actually follow it, like not like lollygag, but like actually follow it, it's really wild what can happen in a couple weeks.
mm-hmm.
Right. And like that makes me think of the quote, like what you do consistently is more important than what you do once in a while. So like I'll be honest, now that I'm more in a maintenance phase of my journey and I'm not necessarily like at a weight loss point, like they help you learn how to like kind of adjust to that when you're no longer at like a caloric deficit trying to lose weight. And so now I'm a little bit more lenient with myself because I'm not working on weight loss goals at the moment. And like to be completely honest, I will pretty much follow a meal plan Monday through Friday. And then like Saturday and Sunday, I'm a little bit more lenient. Like, don't get me wrong. I still make sure I eat my vegetables. I still have my Shakeology. I make sure I get all my water, and I'm very conscious of like still getting veggies in, but like I might have an extra glass of wine, or I might have like a burger and fries that puts me at an extra yellow or like an extra carb for the day. But like once you kind of like like we said, go all in and you learn what like happens, like you start to learn what your body needs and how you can kind of flex it to like make it fit maybe a bachelorette party or a wedding or like a birthday party or whatever, date night. Like you kind of learn as you go, but I think it is important to have like, keep beating that horse, but you need to have that month or that 6 or 8 weeks where you commit and you go all in. And that's not like, oh, you follow it like 2 days a week and then the rest of the days like you kind of tried but you half-assed it. Like you have to go all in for a period of time before you can like flex it and like see how your body adjusts. Like I followed 2B mindset to a T, and then part of one component of 2B mindset, you weigh yourself every day and you track everything. So after I had followed 2B mindset consistently for a month, then I started like, because I was in the maintenance and this is allowed in the maintenance, you can add in like a smaller portion of a carb at dinner. So I started adding that in and I was tracking and I was weighing myself. So I was able to see how my body personally would react to that. And so you really learn a lot, and your coach can help you with these. And like the tracker books are really great because I may not have thought that way, but like it prompts you and it has the questions and the reflections that are really good at, so you can get that realization of like, oh yeah, this did happen, or this was good, or like that was maybe like my body didn't react well to that. Because at the end of the day, like we still have to treat our bodies each differently.
And when you start a meal plan, you guys, you're gonna have like your first week that sucks. And you're gonna have the first couple weeks where all you freaking think about is sugar, because if you've been eating like crap, like normal hamburger buns, that kind of bread has so much sugar in it that your body, even if you feel like you weren't eating cookies, you were eating processed food. I could go on a huge rant about this. I'm kind of a nutrition nerd. But you guys, it's going to be weird when you start to transition out. You aren't going to feel good, but you got to have that month or that 6 or 8 weeks so you can feel how good it feels to not have the crap in your body anymore. And I'm not saying like there are good foods out there, and I do fully believe in eating pizza, but like I make homemade pizza now instead of getting it at the store. Like you can make almost any meal significantly healthier if you make it yourself, so you actually know what's in it, and there wasn't a ton of stuff put in it for shelf life, because your body wasn't designed to have shelf life. So keep things more natural, and usually if you're making it yourself, you can sneak in spinach or some vegetable that the store doesn't want to put in it because it makes it less appealing.
I was going to add one comment. If you've been following Ultimate Portion Fix or containers or anything for a while, like get in the habit of maybe like every 6 weeks or when you finish a program, recalculating where you're at. Don't like start today and you are in bracket C and think that you're going to be in bracket C for the rest of your life, because it's going to change as you change and you lose weight or you gain muscle or whatever your goals are. You have to keep changing what then you're putting into your body. So when I started, I was in bracket A, and now I'm maintaining and I'm in bracket B. And so that first month that I try to switch to that was putting more food, and I already had a hard time eating what I was eating before. So like just slowly ease into it. You're not going to be able to like go from I'm a way under eater. I couldn't go from under eating to eating, I don't know, my 10 containers for the day or whatever it was. So just slowly go into it one day at a time.
Mm-hmm.
I think based off of what Ashley says too, like where I started, my containers were like through the roof. And you look at them at first and you're like, oh yeah, I get to have like 6 of these and 5 of these. And like, I was like, yeah, I love my protein. But just even the other day, I made like a taco salad. And this is where, like, going back to your containers, I've been doing this for a while. Of a red container, your protein, and I like dumped it on to where like I normally put my salads, where my meat goes, and it was like heaping, it was like overflowing, and I looked at it and I was like, oh, I've been under eating protein. So while I've been thinking I've been getting a red in, but maybe getting like 3/4 in. So that's where, like, even us who have been at it a long time, like, we go back to our containers and we realize that, you know, your needs change. So that's just my 2 cents. You don't go hungry on these plans.
Yeah.
And if you do, you need to talk to your coach, because that's not how this works.
Well, and I'm sure a lot of you guys are going to notice this too, as you're like incorporating Shakeology for the first time, or if like you're starting to even just incorporate more vegetables. Nutrient dense food fills you up very differently than like processed crap will. So like if you think about eating a bag of chips versus like having a salad, like your body's going to feel very differently after that. And like I know sometimes, like when I first started drinking Shakeology, like I couldn't even finish my full shake because I was like feeling so full. So it takes your body time to get used to digesting foods that have more fiber, that have more nutrients. Like you might notice those adjustment periods, and those are totally normal. Just make sure like still drinking enough water and pushing through. And like as your coach, like we can help you see if like A, that's just normal adjustments, or if B, maybe like we need to change a plan or something. I want to see by a show of hands how many people are currently following 2B Mindset or Ultimate Portion Fix. Ooh, I love that. So good. I know some people have their kits in the mail too, so they haven't officially started yet, but what'd you say, bad coach?
Me.
You're not following a meal plan, Alexa?
Plan this week. No, I'm bad. I think, yeah. I know you'll know when I get on a meal plan again, because I will lose weight like that. But we all have our seasons. I was going to say something about when you get off of eating crap to eating well and not processed food. When you first start eating a lot of vegetables, you might find yourself feeling a little bit gassy. And when you first start drinking Shakeology, you're going to find yourself feeling a little gassy because you're going to have digestive enzymes and like more nutrients going through your digestive tract. That's actually going to clean out your digestive tract, which is super good for you, but also super weird for your body if you've not like been used to that in the past. But when you actually get it all cleaned out and you're consistent eating the good food only, your like bloated, gassiness, all of that will go way down. And there's a point to this where like you could start figuring out what your triggers are. That's why tracking is super helpful. If I eat raw broccoli, I bloat like crazy because I don't do well with those. I have IBS. Like apparently that's not a thing that I should have raw. But, like that's why tracking can get really helpful because you can like, I know the 5 foods that make me gassy. I know I can't eat ground beef without literally feeling like not good. I can eat like very small portions of certain things and not get sick. Like it's very cool what happens when you're tracking your food over time. So it's another 2 cents on that.
I don't have like actual containers yet, but I've used even just the app, and you know it's so simple because it just says like protein, like it doesn't specify. And being vegetarian, I'm like, oh, thinking that like they're not going to be substitutes, but I'm like, no, like it's literally like just like the categories of each thing that you need to eat, right? Like, which is also really nice and like makes it super easy when portioning it out.
And there's a whole training in Ultimate Portion Fix for vegetarians of A's and B's and all of those. And it's really cool because you can learn a lot, I think, as a vegetarian or a vegan on this plan of what types of proteins are better for you, which types of carbs are better for you. And even if you're not a vegetarian, I think it's important to learn that part because you learn a lot about carbs. And like you can make your carbs much more beneficial to your body. All right. Does anyone have questions? Someone ask Maria a question. Come on. Come on. A newbie should talk. Hello. Chantel?
I'll
It
ask
looks like
a
you.
question.
Oh, Jordan. Okay.
Yeah, so for the ultimate portion fix, so say you do like have a piece of pizza. So how do you track that with the containers? Is that like 1 carb container or is that 2 carb containers? Do they like specify that, or I just don't have pizza as an example?
Yeah, and I think that depends on where you're at, like in your
Mhm.
ultimate portion fix. Like if you're following it to a T, I would recommend going to like ultimate portion fix and finding like a pizza recipe for you to make, and it'll tell you exactly like what that equates to be. Elena kind of mentioned it a little bit like in one of her chat comments, but like tomato sauce, if you make it yourself, you can, I mean, if it's a full container, you can count that as a green container. So that's where your homemade stuff, it comes in. It's a little hard of a like something to like describe exactly what that would look like, but probably a slice of pizza, depending on how big it is, would be what, like 1 to 2 carbs, with your healthy fat and any vegetable sauce or otherwise. So kind of depends on how much of each you put on the pizza, but yeah, you can make it work.
There's a whole section on treat swaps too, which pizza technically isn't in the book as a treat swap, but like when you get further in your journey with Ultimate Portion Fix and you aren't following it to a T anymore, like Maria was explaining, and you're more loosely following it in that season, you can just call it a treat. You won't eat 1 or 2 of your carb containers that day. So like if you know you're going to the bar and you want to eat their pizza, you aren't going to have toast for breakfast. You're going to have vegetables and eggs, and then you're going to have like your other, you're going to save your carbs for that pizza that you know you're going to have, because having 2 pieces of pizza at a bar, you know for a fact you're having your blue container and you're having all your carbs. Like you know that's happening. It's probably more than that, yes, but like if you're at a point in your journey where you're not following it to a T anymore, then you just would make it work.
I was gonna say that sometimes, sometimes to offset, sorry, I will, like if I'm out, I'll order a salad, and do like lemon if I've already had my my dressing for the day, or even like an oil, because I can't hit 3 teaspoons ever. I don't know why. It's just not. And I actually use both of the Fixate books. I've got them both here. Actually, all my meals this week are out of that. So yeah, I always I'll have like 1 piece of pizza and then make sure I get a salad, because in that way I'm getting at least 2 greens and being mindful of what's in the salad and how much is there.
Mm-hmm. Yes. All the accessories add up. Like all the things you put on stuff like adds up as well. So just being mindful of what those are important.
I always found it interesting. This is like a tangent, but there was a Chalene Johnson podcast once, and she talked about how she was working with some person. She is the creator of PIO, if you don't know that. But she has a podcast, and she was talking about how she was working with some customer at some point. She was a trainer her whole life, and that person wasn't losing weight. And she's like, well, I need you to write down everything that you're eating. And every night she'd have a massive glass of orange juice. And once she got rid of that massive glass of orange juice, she started losing weight. So you have to really pay attention to every like weird behavior that you have, especially things like that. Like that's a sugar bomb, because fruit juice is really not that good for you because you just took all the fiber out. So the way your body digests fruit juice is a shock to the system versus eating an orange is a very different body experience. But I always find that super interesting. So even if you aren't following a meal plan, be very aware of all of your habits throughout the day, like that handful of chips or that handful of M&Ms, like that stuff will add up.
And how we cook our food.
Mm-hmm. Like the
Sorry,
oils we use.
Chantel, do you have a question? I think she's trying to. Can you unmute her? There.
Can you hear me now?
We can hear you.
Okay. So I tried to track today. It was my first day, so it was a little. I don't know. I spent my whole morning doing it, so it was interesting. But I missed breakfast because I couldn't figure stuff out. But so I didn't get like to my like I didn't hit the target. So like, do you just call it quits or do you try to get it in? Do you understand my question?
Yep, like if you don't get all your containers in. Like,
Yes. Like I need 1.5 more green. I need 2 more purple. I need 2 more red. I need 2 more yellow. And I need 3 more teaspoons. Like, do I try to get those in or do I just say done for the day? Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I would say, I think as you get later at night, you're not going to want to try and like make a massive salad out of it and then just like go to bed. So I would say like at this point tonight, like you're probably going to call it quits for the day. You're going to say, hey, that was a great job. I wrote everything down. I realized that next time, like tomorrow, I need to focus on getting my veggies and my protein. And my, like those are probably like, those are going to be 2 of the main things that you're going to focus on tomorrow. So, yeah. And you just know, like, maybe tomorrow you make a smoothie and you hide those greens into it. Like, you did what you could today. So.
Okay. Sorry, that may have been a more coach on one person.
No, that's a great question.
That's a good example. A lot of people have that problem. And it really is, like, run with it. Like Maria just said, don't beat yourself up. It's already almost 8 o'clock at night. Like, it's just, today I didn't get my workout in because of my migraine. You're just going to pick up tomorrow. And you are going to just keep at it. You're not behind. You're not bad. Nothing bad happened today. You showed up. You did your best. And tomorrow's fresh.
Okay, perfect. Thanks, guys.
Also, to that point, if you do have extra containers left, that doesn't mean you add them onto tomorrow. So each day is like a clean slate. It's a fresh start. So like Alexa said in the chat, don't skip the same containers consistently. So if every single day you're like, oh, didn't get my greens in today. Oh, didn't get my greens in today. Like, you have to rotate that out a little bit so your body's still getting the nutrients, because each container represents different nutrients that your body needs. So it's like maybe you missed a green today, but you miss a red tomorrow, or like a yellow the following day, as opposed to missing your proteins every single day or your greens every single day. And then, yeah, just don't keep adding them up or you would have way too much tomorrow.
Right.
That was a big thing when I first started too, because I was, kind of in the same boat as Maria. I was 85 pounds heavier, going and seeing how much food I actually needed to eat and what I should be eating to getting all the containers. It was really, really hard at first. So I was like, oh my gosh, this is so much food to eat. But as each day, you can reflect at the end of the night and learn, okay, maybe could I sneak an extra half a protein in with my lunch? Can I get an extra snack here? And so you just get to adjust and learn and grow every single day. And then it starts becoming second nature until it's time to adjust your containers again in 6 weeks after you're done with the program and you learn what your new containers are. And then it's a whole new learning curve. So,
yeah.
And Chantel, one thing, like, you don't have your Shaco yet probably, right? So like that's going to be an entire red container, and that's where you shove in those extra veggies. Like, I'm not a veggie person, so veggies go in my shake if I'm having a hard time with veggies. Like right now, for some reason, being at home, I'm a veggie person. I sit here and I eat on peppers and broccoli, but like typically I'm not a veggie person. But like that's when you shove them in your shake, and you can get 2 whole containers, a red and a green, in your Shaco every single day if that's a worry. And then you can add a fruit too, so that's a red, a green, and a purple. So remember, like it'll be easier when you can kind of shove some of those things into your shakes.
Awesome.
Yep, same with like the teaspoons and stuff, like chocolate, banana, spinach, and a teaspoon of peanut butter. Or if you can't get all 3 of them, like that's where it goes. But like if you're cooking in oils, like those are things that you're going to be That's awesome.
I was going to say
Does anyone have any other questions?
Oh, I was just going to say one thing.
Ahead.
When I started, I've been on containers since day one, since 2017. What I did was take her chart that you can find online at the 21-Day Fix, and I actually just went through and highlighted each section of the foods that I liked. And that helped me because now, like for my snacks, I do like for a protein, I do a yogurt a day. I'm not a big veggie person, but for just a quick veggie, I do baby carrots as one of my snacks because then I get that other green in. So that's something that I've recommended for those in my group that are doing the Fix8 plan is go through that list and highlight what you like, and then just be creative with your snacks outside of the already prepped meals.
I love that idea because those lists are like a mile long. So going through and like highlighting like what do I like and what am I gonna eat? Like that's a great. That way when you're like planning your meals, you can go and like, okay, I know I need to get veggies in. What's looking good this week?
Something I did too when playing with them is I write out my meals every week, and I was writing them out, but then I was like, okay, I need to leave more spaces because I'm like Chantel, I was like, oh my gosh, how am I going to get all these greens in? So I was like writing how many I needed each day and like accounting that as I wrote out my meal plan. So there was like that visual for it too.
For the people that like Excel, I have a document, like an Excel spreadsheet that literally you type in what your containers are, and then it calculates for you based on, so you make sure you get them all. So you can like start at the end of the day, and it's really quite nice. If someone wants that, I can send it to whoever's coaches so you can get them.
I'm sorry, can you say that again? I was distracted by your cat.
I'm sorry, my cat is
I was distracted. I didn't hear what you were saying.
No, I have a Excel spreadsheet that calculates for you, kind of like Jess was talking about how she calculates it. Literally, if you like Excel, it's super helpful. I just do highlighters myself, but like my sister-in-law loves the Excel format because she like would plan her dinner, and then she knows how much she has for like her other categories throughout the day.
Okay, yeah.
All right, y'all. Does anyone else have a question before we hang up? Should we do a boomerang? Elena, you can kill the recording.